Hello everybody, welcome to the review and preview show as we head into round 5 and it's the AFL gather round. So this is actually the round that I wanted to have everybody play everybody, and so top five teams or top high 5 scoring teams get the win, bottom 5 scoring teams get the loss. And let's be honest, in hindsight, I'm actually glad we didn't do that, because I'm actually one of the worst scoring teams, so I'm glad that didn't happen. So anyway, move on. So after 4 rounds played, we've got one team that's left undefeated, and we've got one team without a win, and there was some pretty high and consistent scores that are starting to develop throughout the competition. So let's have a quick review of round 4. And where we've seen some massive scores by one team, 2 others hit the magical 400 mark, and another team is continuing to not play their best side as per the optimised lineup scores. So let's have a look at the first game. Alright, so let's start off with Sugar Daddies. They defeated Gators Bitches 353 to 321. It was another poor performance by Gators, who are struggling to get the score on the board at the moment. While last year's Premier Sugar Daddies, they had a fairly consistent performance this week, and they've notched their second win for the season, which they'll be pretty happy, and they're be hoping that their total defence actually has started to kick off. So if you look at the Gators, they were let down by a few this week, but their best performers were probably Lockie Neal, who had a stellar game, getting 64 as a follower. And Houston, who was looped hold at halfback with 55, he's definitely earned his 2 weeks rest. Butters was a welcome addition back, he got 34 as a tackler. If you look at Sugar Daddies, they looped hold Darcy Cameron, he got 99 as a utility, which was absolutely fantastic. And Matt Rowell got another solid tackling game, he got 42, and let's be honest, we might as well just keep him every single week because he's doing it every single week. Darcy Fogarty's another one who's doing it every single week, and he kept his good form going on at full forward with 32 points as a full forward. So if we look at the optimised lineups, we can see Gators, they continually score bad. Only 371 as an optimised lineup, which is probably their average every week for the optimised lineup, which is pretty poor. Sugars would have got 395. Probably the biggest change for Gators would have been Hinge coming at utility, which I never would have thought of, and also Lockie Ash coming to midfield. The forwards would have changed as well. Sugar, well, they would have had Danger in a full forward, and Tom Stewart would have got a game, as would have Ainsworth. He would have got the kick as well. So well done, Sugar. That's 2 wins for you, and actually both teams are now left with 2-2 after 4 games. So let's go to the next game now, and we're looking at an absolute smashing here, which is something considering one of the teams just fell short of 400. That was Old Diablos. They were massive. They got 472, which is one of the highest scores ever in Footywired, I believe. If there's any more that are bigger than that, I wouldn't know off the top of my head. El Diablos, well, we could have put the whole team up because the whole team was pretty good. It's such a good score, you always get that, but we only believe in it as 3 is what we're doing this year. So let's have a look at the 3 better players, and that was Toby Green, put a Toby Tax on Renegades himself, he got 63 as a half forward. And Human Cluggage almost smashed him as a tackler, he got 62. I didn't know who to put for the 3rd player, and I went with Sarong, he got 68 as a follower. As the next best, Luke Ryan, he checked his way to his kicks, as we know, but in this game it counts, so that's okay. But I put one with Sarong with 68 as a follower. That's a very, very good score for a follower score. But yeah, if we have a quick look at Renegades, they had some pretty good performance as well, but really it was just 2. Jesse Hogan kicked 9 goals and got 96 at a full forward. So hopefully Charlie Kennard can do that against the Eagles this week as well. Bailey Smith, he was pretty good utility, he got 94.5. But after that, there wasn't too much to choose from. Decided to go with Nank, who got 43 as a ruck, which is a very, very good ruck score, let's be honest. Although he did lose that battle versus Briggs, who got 46 for El Diablos. So let's look at the optimised lineups. And it's amazing here with Diablos getting 517 as their optimised lineup score. Renegades got 447, which is pretty good as well. So let's look at the Cox. They bring in Armity to full forward. McLuggage would have gone to utility. Dunkley's a tackler, which I believe that would have been a swapping position for them too. Renegades, well, Rankin would have gone as a tackler, and Oliver as the midfielder there, as a couple of changes that might have happened. Alright, so now it's time for the game of the round, and it is the game of the round, and it was a high scoring thriller with both sides hitting the magical 400 mark. With Bombers Forever coming back, they got the chocolates, and they could possibly be 4-0 if it wasn't for injuries from last week. They defeated Maltese Falcons 419 to 400. Bombers Forever, they were led by Sam Darcy, who finally made his debut for the Bombers. They got a massive score of 60 at full forward. The other standout would have been Sheasel, probably just over Wits. Sheasel got 62 as a mid and probably had his best game of the year. And the Thrill Seeker got moved to half forward and got 52. From what I actually understand, the Thrill Seeker and Sean Darcy, or Sam Darcy, should I say, they're actually the two highest ranked players in the AFL at the moment, according to champion data, but we don't use them. Anyway, Falcons, they had a number of standouts as well. 400 points schedule, good standout. Big Tex got 49 as a half forward, and Walsh, he was a good loophole player. He got 92.5 utility. Both the mids got 59, but I'm going to give the nod to Tom Green because 59 as a follower is much better than 59 as a midfielder. The optimised lineups, they would have been close with Bombers just getting over the line, 452.5 to 440, so another close, we'll still be in a close result. Bombers would swap their forwards around, and also Ashcroft and McRae, I believe, would have swapped as well. Doherty would have also got a run. Falcons, well, they were bringing Tracy to the forward line, and Hewitt and Walsh, and I reckon this is probably the third week in a row that they've probably swapped. So Hewitt gets paid as a tackle all the time, Walsh always gets loophole. But then if you look at the optimised lineup, Hewitt is always the utility, and Walsh is always a tackler. So maybe that's something for Falcons to have a look at. So now, fourth game to look at, and it's the Gods of Olympus. They stay undefeated. They beat Rangers Anonymous 362.5 to 345. Rangers, well, Georgiadis has been on fire, and he was on fire again this week, full forward at 46 points. Hopefully this week it's the Hawkers, he has a quiet week. Where is it? This side. Go to Hawkers. I'm watching the camera and stop the mirror. So anyway. Taranto, Michael cut that bit out. Taranto, he finally got some freedom. He was not tagged this week, and he got 56 as a midfielder. And Saligo as a follower got 49, and Saligo's been in very good form lately as well. Gods, well, the manager was complaining about Brayshaw. He's only got one kick, 3 handballs, bloody hell, what's going on? It's the first quarter, mate, relax. What did Brayshaw do? Well, he actually ended up getting 54 as a midfielder. So, relax, mate. 4 quarters in the game. If it was the fourth quarter and that was the case, complain. Just relax. Anyway, Atkins, well, he's been like Rao this year, and we basically just keep the spot and tackle on and keep him the best teams away for the tackle. He got 61 as a tackler. And Wangani Malera, well, he was a halfback. Mixing up first round pick, got 64 as a halfback. So if we look at the optimised lineups, well, once again, 4 weeks in a row, Rangers and Homers are almost 100 points better off with the optimised lineup. And they would possibly be undefeated if you look at this, because their optimised lineups have been better than every single team they've played. They would have won this week by 12. They can actually be top of the ladder. And, well, what happens, bad luck. So, Rangers are almost 100 points off. They get the win. A couple of changes to the team. With that one, it's a good result. Saligo, probably utility. Hopper will come as well. Stephen May, he would have doubled Boston's score. He would have got 81 as a halfback. Boston only got 40. So Gods, Humphries comes to the half forward. Brayshaw will go into utility, who apparently Brayshaw's struggling, but anyway. And obviously the Baker boy gets a run with that one. Alright, so now let's have a look at the final game, and it's the only 2 teams that are yet to win the game. So we've saved the best till last here. Punters Paddock are now unfortunately, sorry, Punters Paddock are now unfortunately the only team to get to win a game. Now I know I shouldn't laugh because I'm a very low scoring team. They might beat me in a couple of weeks' time. But anyway, I'm gonna laugh while I can here. They got beaten by Seek and Destroy, who did get their best score for the year, 358.5 to 279. Am I reading that right? 279.5. That's short. Is that a misprint? No, it's real. 279.5. Oh boy. Well, let's have a look at Punters' three best players. Dawson, he was good. He got 93.5, and he was drawn by Whitfield, who actually is currently leading the league in possessions. He got 67 as a fella. Maybe had Richards, the next best player, third best player, half forward, got 30. But in fairness, let's be honest, Punters paid. They did get 279.5, but they did not have a ruck. And they had to put Mychek in there, and he was okay, he got 7. But anyway. Seek and Destroy, as I said, probably the best team for the best score for the year. And every week this year, should I say, Sinclair has been phenomenal, and he led the team again this week. He got 64 as a halfback. Horn Francis, after getting having a tough week this week, got 47 as a half forward. And Flanders, I'm glad he changed his hair because that was shocking. He got 50 as midfielder. If we look at the optimised lineup, look, it doesn't really change the result, 385 to 347, but the scores would have been better at least, over 300. Sinclair moves to half forward and for Seek and Destroy, and JHF will go to utility. Clark also is going to get a run on that one. And Punters, Whitfield will go to utility, and Cameron will go on to half forward. So look, the site is down, as we all know. Mick's got access to it, but I don't have access to it. And when I was taking screenshots of everything that happened during the week, so I can prepare this, I forgot to get the best team of the round. So there's no best team of the round now, but we move on. Doesn't matter. Sorry about that. Anyway, after 4 rounds, let's have a look at the ladder. And God's undefeated on top. Seek and Destroy bottom with 0 wins. The Bombers and Diablos, they've got 3 wins, and S&D and Rangers only had 1. And the rest of the teams are on 500. Gators being the worst, and Falcons being the best out of those teams that are 2 and 2. Alright, so let's now go to round 5. It is gather round. Every team's in South Australia. And now the byes are actually finished. So it's for 6 or 7 weeks now. Besides injuries or suspensions, everyone's going to have a full squad, which is fantastic. No more byes for a little bit there. So let's have a look this week. Renegades are playing Seek and Destroy. Falcons play Sugar Daddies. El Diablos host the Gators. Rangers play Punters. And then the top 2, Gods and the Bombers, are playing each other. Will Gods get their first loss of the year? Will S&D get their first win? I don't know. But what I do know is who is and who isn't available at the moment as of Wednesday, 8:37 p.m. Alright, so let's look at the first game. It is Renegades versus Seek and Destroy. Renegades, well, Rankin has been named, but he was under a test, and they say they're not going to risk him. The Crows going to pull a Geelong here and against Geelong and do a laid out with Rankin. We'll see what happens there. Sicily, Shield and Darren do return back from the bye. Warple is a test and could be back this week, especially with Will Day out. Warple might be a welcome addition. And Pitane is also a test for him. Lyman's still a week away. The other person that looks like they're available for the first time this year is Hayden Young, so he'll probably get a run this week. Seek and Destroy, well, they do lose Will Day for possibly the season, or Footywired season. Hopefully he's back for the Hawkers. And Colwell's still injured, while Langford and Lukosius are also currently injured. Who could be the loopholes for these teams? Well, Renegades, they're probably going to go Bailey Smith or Rankin, unless they want to wait till the 1:10 game on Saturday and play Harley Reid. S&D, well, the Cats players have got probably not loophole players. Keane could be a halfback, or they might wait for Friday night and go Dacos. They could go Saturday for the 12:35 game. Yeah, that's right, 12:35 Saturday's the first game, where they've got LDU or Flanders to choose from. Alright. So now let's go to the next game. It's Falcons. They're playing Sugar Daddies. Falcons, well, they're welcome back Crouch, and I believe Waterman may be picked this week. I'm not too sure. They're also going to get Hobbs back from the bye as well. What do they got? Well, they have lost Luke Jackson, sorry. Luke Jackson could be out for a few weeks, but Sardis is a test, I believe. Sugar Daddies, well, Parrish and Martin could be back from injury this week. They went on the injury report, Parrish was a test, Martin wasn't on the injury report. But they had an injury, also had a bye last week, so they're back. And look, Harry Mackay, if you're upset, you are depressed. What better way to cure a forward's depression than playing against the Eagles back line? So will he get picked this week? Who knows? Loopholes, well, Sugar's got Stewart or Danger to choose from Thursday night, or they can go Darcy Cameron, who got 99 utility last week, loophole on Friday. Could wait for the Gold Coast boys on Saturday. Sherry's got a tough ruck contest. Maybe he plays Cameron in the ruck and does one of those guys. Who knows? I don't think Foggy will be moved. Probably say full forward. Falcons, well, option is Crouch on Thursday night. Unless he doesn't want to wait to Saturday and play one of his blue boys, he does like loophole in Walsh, so that might be the option for the 1-10 game on Saturday. Alright, next game, El Diablos versus the Gators. This is one of the highest scoring teams, but against one of the lowest scoring teams, so a bit scary for some of us. Both teams do have full forwards that have got a favourable matchup, so let's see where this goes. Amon's back from the bye for Diablos, and pretty much at full strength from there. Well, Gators, they're welcoming back Newcomb, Watson, Moore, and McGrath from the bye. They are still without Goulden, who's still 10 weeks away, and Elliot Yeo still 3 to 5 weeks away. Houston has got a problem. He's been suspended for 2 games. What are the loopholes? Well, the likely loopholes, as I said, I'm just giving options for the early games, and you can choose who you want. You can play some loophole on Sunday if you want, which is probably a waste of time, but it's up to you. Diablos, they're probably going to go, I reckon they're going to go Ben Keys. Can't see the lineup, obviously, but Ben Keys probably go Thursday night. They may go Chris from Friday night, and they do have a few players playing early on Saturday, such as Cripps, Parker, or Tim Kelly, who, from what I read on Footywired, may be out this week. Gators, well, they got 2 players Thursday night in Mitch Hinge, who would have been my best utility last week, and Grant Myers. Could see how Kuno goes against the Eagles on Saturday, but more than likely probably Hinge and Myers. Yeah. Well, 4th game, let's look at that one. Rangers and Punters. 2 of the lowest scoring teams, not according to optimised lineups, but 2 of the lowest scoring teams. But Rangers, they do welcome back Zach Merritt this week. And although he is available to play, Bolter has been given day release. He can be picked. Will he be picked? Optics don't look great, but they have got the option, and I believe they think they will play him, but you know, we won't find out until tomorrow or Thursday night, whenever you're watching this. Flanago, he's a test for Rangers, but they have lost to go for a few weeks. Punters, well, they had no rucks last week, and this week they've got a choice to make. Sean Darcy looks like he is available to play, and he may be selected. And Lloyd Meek is also back from the bye. Jordan Riley is also back from the bye as well. They still don't have Max King. Shaw is still out for a while as well, and Hugo Hagen is not available at this stage. So there is a few loopholes to choose from here. Well, for punters anyway, Rangers have got likely choose Saligo as the loophole player, the interchange player. Unless they want to wait for Saturday and go Anderson in the early game. Punters, they've got a plethora of choices. They've got Dawson, they've got Laird, they've got Stengel, and they've got Cameron. All those to choose from Thursday night, and they can even wait for Twilight on Saturday and go with Red Richards, but more likely they probably will go one of those players on the Thursday night. Alright, so look, the last game we're going to look at now for the look at Gather Round 5. It is the top 2. It has been spruiked by both of their managers as the game of the round. I'll make that decision next week when I do the review for round 5 and the preview for round 6. Thank you very much. Anyway, Gods of Olympus, they're sitting pretty on top. They're playing Bombers Forever, who probably is in better form going into this game, going to this contest. So I'm interested to see what happens there. Gods, well, they've almost got a full squad to choose from, and Elijah Hewitt, I believe, is the only one missing through injury, and he should be back next week. Bombers Forever, they've still got a few outs. They've got Bont, possibly 2 weeks away, 2 to 3 weeks away, and McGovern's about the same. Mills, Papley, and Rochelle are a little bit longer than that, but they do have Brian back from the bye. Who are the loophole options in this one? Gods, they can go with Atkins, they can go with Humphreys. Thursday, they all play. Friday, Dacos or Warner. So a couple to choose from. That's Josh Dacos and Chad Warner, not the brothers. What are the Bombers' likely choices? Well, they've got Perriman or Robertson Friday night. They can go early Saturday and wait for one of Caleb Daniel, Harry Sheasel or Sam Doherty. All play early on Saturday. Alright, so that's the preview of the 5 games and whose options are available, who's not available. A little bit easier with no bias and who to choose from and so forth. But alright, let's look at the AFL schedule. And just remember, Saturday game does start early, so do not miss it for Saturday if you're playing a loophole player or doing DS or what you're going to do. But Thursday, Crows play the Cats. Friday, Collingwood play Sydney. Saturday, 12:35. Yes, that's at 12:35 on Saturday. North play the Suns, and then at 1:20, Carlton play the Eagles. The Twilight Saturday game is the Dogs versus the Lions. Saturday night, Bombers versus the D's. Petrarca lift the game, mate. Sunday, 12:35. That's again a 12:35 start. Tigers play the Dockers, and then 3:20 Saints play the Giants, and then we end it on Saturday night. 7:20, Sunday night should I say, 7:20 Port versus the Mighty Hawks. Come on, the 4 Mighty Fighting Hawks. Let's go, Hawkers. Anyway, remember, in case the site isn't back up, let your opponent know your team before the first bounce. Probably Thursday may be interrupted, but hopefully the site's back by then. But just tell someone who you're playing on Thursday night, and tell the person you're playing, or just put on the messenger. Alright? Anyway, thanks everyone. See you all later.